The Fool on the Hill. Tony and Heather arrived at the Paris airport and were waiting for their baggage. The airport had granted permission to some street performers to entertain visitors. There was a string quartet playing classical music, 2 jugglers, a magician, and a mime. Look at them, Tony. What a colourful reception. Heather, this may be the romantic vacation you always wanted. While Tony watched the magician, Heather noticed the mime, gesticulating his trapped-in-a-box routine. When the mime saw her, he held his hands over his heart, indicating his love for her. Heather smiled back at him. That may have been a mistake. The next morning, Tony and Heather got up early from their hotel in Montmartre, an artsy section on a hill in Paris. They had a full day planned. They began at the Louvre. Classical music played softly, while people gazed at the famous paintings. Tony and Heather loved the Impressionists, such as Cézanne, Monet, and Renoir. Let's get a poster at the gift shop when we leave, Heather. And one of those replica Eiffel Tower charms for my bracelet, Tony. Heather caught a glimpse of someone dressed in red, white, and black. It was a mime. Was this the same mime she saw at the airport? He was standing beside a painting by Pierrot, of a white-clad, melancholic mime. Heather gestured for the mime to leave her alone. But the mime followed her around the gallery, out of Tony's sight. She thought she should tell Tony, but knew they were leaving soon. After getting souvenirs at the gift shop, they headed to a café for brunch. This isn't Tim Hortons, dear. You'll have to settle for a croissant. Tony laughed. A leisurely breakfast was interrupted when Heather saw the mime again. He was hiding in the bushes about 50 feet behind Tony's back. Heather gestured for the mime to go away. Is something wrong, dear? Just an insect, but it's gone now. Next, they walked to the Eiffel Tower and took the elevator for the iconic view. As they rose, Heather saw the mime below, waving a bouquet of flowers and a box of candy. Heather had to chuckle. No one had pursued her like this since college. Maybe this will be a story she can tell her girlfriends back home, but not Tony. When they came back down, Heather saw that the mime had left. Thank God. Did you say something, dear? I said that the tower is like a gift from God. They ended their day with a romantic dinner cruise on the Seine. The boat had large glass windows on both sides, where diners could eat and view monuments along the river. There was the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame, and the Louvre Museum, stops they had made that day. It was the perfect experience to end their adventure in Paris. The waiter brought wine to the table and their meals. French, of course. Excuse me, dear. I'd like to wash up. Tony left for the bathroom. The mime appeared out of nowhere. Heather almost spilled her wine. What are you doing here? Leave immediately. But the mime pulled out a red rose from his jacket and handed it to Heather. I am not your true love. You must leave me alone before my husband gets back. The mime was crestfallen, but stealthily left. After the cruise, they returned to the fountain next to their hotel. There he was, the mime who had been stalking them all day. He was still trying to flirt secretly with Heather. His skills as a mime made this easy for him. A silent lover. He waited for his chance, but the couple headed back to their room. Tony and Heather were exhausted from the day and the mime games. It's almost midnight, sweetheart. Can we postpone romance until tomorrow? I'm beat. Of course, dear. Maybe in the morning. That sounds perfect, sweetheart. Tony was snoring within minutes. Heather decided to take a midnight stroll by the fountain to clear her mind from all the mime. But there he was, waiting for her with open arms. He puckered his lips with closed eyes, begging for a kiss. What the hell? She said to herself. She finally relented and kissed the mime passionately. Oh, I've never felt a kiss like this. More, please. While Tony slept, Heather continued her affair with the mime. Can we move this to somewhere more private? The mime took Heather's hand and led her to a small cottage in the woods. He opened the door and directed her to a large heart-shaped bed, surrounded by candles lit for the occasion. The mime ravished Heather for over 2 hours. She noticed the time. I have to get back before my husband wakes up. But you are the greatest lover I've ever had." The mime blushed. He motioned that he was sorry to see her go. "Will I ever see you again? What is your name?" The mime pulled out a small chalkboard and wrote Marcel. "Not the Marcel?" He wrote, "My grandfather." Heather was shocked. "Well, I think we have moved past the need for silence. I want to hear your voice." The mime wrote quickly on his chalkboard. "I'm mute." Heather smiled. "Vive la France, Marcel." And she returned to the hotel and got into bed with Tony before he woke up.